I then use a small flat file to remove any folds or burrs. Each time we use a stone on the blade, we remove a tiny bit of metal, progressively shortening the cutting edge. The profile thus gets fatter, becoming ever more difficult to obtain a sharp edge. This is why from time to time we need to hammer or peen the metal, effectively squashing it until it is again thin enough to allow us to attain a sharp edge with a stone. There are two types of surface on the hammer, and there are different anvils that we use, one flat surface and one pointed. The area we're going to peen is only 4mm wide. Our choice of flat hammer and bar peen anvil, or pointed bar peen hammer and flat anvil, determines which way up we hold the blade.
The honing stones?
The pointed bit.
I always carry two with me. This is natural stones from Austria. This is the fine stone. It's a really hard one, called the Mailander.
It's the same.
Yeah, it's the double M here. And this one I use for maybe 90% of the time and the honings. And there is like several hundred honings each day if I really work. And this certain stone I've used, this is on my third season. So you can see this is really smooth, and it has kept its
and you can see from the different colours of the new blades over there, there's different families and styles of blade. So you've got to choose the blade that's appropriate for what you're wanting to do. Now, what you don't do with a scythe is start about here. Okay? You see it on the TV, you see it on all the photos, because as soon as a photographer sees you with a scythe, and the scythe's lost in the grass, you say, oh, can you just lift the blade up a bit, please? And then everybody gets the wrong impression. So,
There was never a sound beside the wood but one, and that was my long scythe whispering to the ground. What it whispered, I knew not well myself. Perhaps it was something about the heat of the sun, something perhaps about the lack of sound, and that was why it whispered and did not speak. It was no dream of the gift of idle hours.
set up before you commence work. When you go to cut, you get your side, put the heel into your armpit. The tips of your fingers should then touch your first handle. Then you catch hold of your side, and the next handle should be the elbow distance to the tip of the finger. Then you take your side and stand it on the handle. Put your first handle in your armpit. The tip of the blade should then be touching your finger. That is the correct setup of whatever size person you are.
For following step, I usually use synthetic stone. Synthetic stone is generally coarser stone and therefore more aggressive. Yes, and then after that, natural stone, which is usually finer grit. Just depends. But and natural stone is most of the time used wet, and for this purpose, I will use it now out of convenience dry. But yes, that's in a field. It's using whetstone holder, so you carry a little water and stone dipped in that.
So the first step in keeping it sharp is carrying a stone with you. I've got a whetstone holder.
And it looks like it's got some wet in there with the whetstone.
There's a little water in there. It doesn't take much. So, and it's very quick. Kind of just go down each edge of the blade. about like so. And that is just wet dressing with the stone, and there's different grades of stone. This one happens to be a very, very fine stone, a natural stone, and it takes off less material than if you use, there's some synthetic stones that you can use that are just a little bit coarser than that, and it takes a little bit more material off. And the more material you take off each time you use the stone, the more frequently you have to do the next step of sharpening, which is called peening.
To wet my blade. I take my whetstone. When you look under a microscope and you would look at the edge under a microscope, you would see it's not straight. It's like mountains and teeth when you look at it. And they will start to bend over. And what we want with this very fine grit whetstone is we don't want to sharpen our blade by taking them away. We just want to straighten them out, very gentle. So the first exercise is, I call it the spider. You let your fingers run over the back. The second exercise is you hold your whetstone here and you do the same thing. And then you want to have it straight on the rear edge, but you have to touch the edge. You have to look at it. Am I on the edge? Yeah, I'm on the edge. And then I move forward, downwards. I like to lean